What is up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Don't Say the F Word. We are a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast where we do not use the F word whenever we talk about professional wrestling, and you shouldn't let your friends use the F word either. Today, we have a special guest coming from the UK, and that is the reason why our boy Mark is back here rocking his jiu-jitsu gi. Mark is very excited. He believes he is going to be a world-class black belt one day. But we are here with Adam Bennett joining us from the UK. Adam is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, and he will be competing in Grapple Fest 15. Takes place April 1st. Will be available on Fight TV. Everyone who subscribes to Fight and Fight Plus will be able to check that out. And I'm a huge fan of Grapple Fest and combat and just everything in the world of submission grappling is something that it's always been near and dear to my heart. Those who know me, that's why I'm rocking a real shooter shirt that I made for myself. But Adam, how are you, man? Thank you for joining us.
No, pleasure to be on the show, man. No, all good. Just training hard, keeping busy, trying to stay active on the UK scene and, very happy and I'm blessed to be having an opportunity to be on the big show at Grapple Fest, man. So, yeah, I'm just buzzing to be a part of it.
That's awesome. So I was correct. You're a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Who do you train under? Who is your coach?
So I now train at Trident Martial Arts Wirral. I train under Steve Charmley and Harry McKnight. So on the Wirral, it's literally, like a 5-10 minute drive away from Liverpool. So not far from the Grapple Fest venue itself. I've been training there, I think, about 18 months now. Absolutely loving it. Like, I couldn't recommend the place enough. Like, the people in there, they're literally like family, and they've treated me so well since day one. So if anyone's ever in like the Wirral area, please just come down, because honestly, it's helped change me, made me a happier, more fun, better person just being there. So can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, there's something special about finding a gym that feels like family. Many years ago, I did submission grappling, I did shoot fighting, and catch wrestling, and
nice.
I had one main home school and one coach that I trained under, and if I was there, it felt right. I felt like a better person. But you try it other places. You meet people who are training in these different spots, and you go there. And I only had one gym where I ever felt like I was at home and I was with my people. And I felt like if I ventured away, it affected me as a person. I wasn't the same guy. And if I was at my gym with my family at that gym,
yeah,
I was whole. I was complete, and I was a better human being overall, having the right teacher.
Yeah, I feel like, you need to find that chemistry. I feel like once you find that chemistry, you start to thrive in that environment. So as soon as like I went into Trident, like I started literally knowing everyone's name by about the end of the week, maybe 2 weeks, and I was cracking on, having banter with everyone, and it was spot on. Like I found, because I had a little dry patch where I wasn't training, I kind of like fell out of love with jits, and I just wasn't doing nothing. And then obviously finding Trident, like it pushed my game on a lot more. Started seeing different styles, different games, and it made me fall in love with jiu-jitsu again.
That's awesome, man. So how old are you?
I'm 25. I've had a rough around, like.
Still a young man. I am 40, and if I look, it's probably been, it's been almost a decade since I've been on the mats, that I've been rolling, and I look at the evolution of jiu-jitsu and submission grappling as a whole. As I watch people compete in Grapple Fest, the evolution of jiu-jitsu and just different grappling arts, it's leaps and bounds. It makes me look back at what my skill level was the last time I was on a mat, and we're talking I was 10 years of submission grappling, catch wrestling. I feel like I would be elementary school at this point. If I were to get back onto a mat, I think a guy 6 months into training would have technique that would far surpass anything me and my training partners were doing 10 years ago.
It's scary. It's, obviously like there's been more like new waves of technique and skills coming through now, and a lot more things released. But like, I just can't get over like the whites and blue belts now. Like I remember at the British Open, I think it was 2021. The white belts are just going for legs like nobody's business. They're flying it, and like, it moves so smooth. I'm like, what? like when I was a white belt, it was a lot more like fundamental. You know what I mean? But these guys were flying, they were loose, they were slick. Like you say, it's evolving, and it's evolving fast, very fast.
Yeah, it really is. And me and my wife, we were at some event when I was watching Grapple Fest 14. I was watching on my phone, and I'm watching, and I think my wife was doing a craft fair with her parents, and I'm watching grappling on my phone, and I'm excited watching guys landing, going for these different techniques and going for these arm bars. Like, man, some of the things I see people do in competitions now are things that we did in a structured
Yeah,
exercise. It was just catch wrestling. It was working this exercise, this move to this move, this counter to this counter. Never going to work in real time. Never going to work in a competition. But you have the muscle memory, so you know how to get this escape. And I see guys executing these things not only in real time, but at full combat
it's
pace.
ridiculous.
And I'm just blown away. I'm blown away.
No, like literally, especially at Grapple Fest as well. Like you see some of the maddest finishes. Like everyone's looking for highlights. I like how they like Grapple Fest promote like hunting the sub, looking to get highlights, and making great matchups as well. Putting great styles together. I feel like it brings the best out of both people as well. Like you can't keep your eyes off it because you never know what you're gonna miss.
Yeah, you look away, and all of a sudden someone's landed a knee bar out of nowhere. And you're like, well, how the hell? How did he get the leg? Where did this happen?
It'll be like a little adjustment, one little movement, and boom, it's literally game over. Like the game now, it's literally like not even a game of inches anymore. It's millimeters. Like you make one mistake, you're done.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, what is Brazilian Jiu Jitsu the first martial art you trained in, or did you have something prior to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
So when I was younger, I started off just boxing, just to stay fit because I was like over here we have like Sunday league football, or like you guys would call it soccer. But I used boxing to stay fit because I just love football so much. And then I remember like just going around to one of my friends. He was literally like half my size, and he'd been doing just like traditional like Japanese style jujitsu, like proper just traditional like with all the katas and all that. And we're just having like a little mess around grapple, and I'm thinking, well, I'm fit, I'm strong. I should just, and he just mangled me up. Like he had me armbar. I was like, what am I doing? He's choking me with my hoodie, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. So then for me, I was kind of like, I need to learn this. This dude's like half my size, just like putting me a kip here. Like I need to learn this. So I went with him. I think it was like a place in Ellesmere Port, on the Wirral, and I was, on and off with it because I still had like football as my interest. It was not until I think I was like 18, I reached out to a gym in Liverpool called the MMA Academy. Again, if anyone's in Liverpool, can't recommend the MMA Academy enough. Under Jason Tan, fantastic gym. And I just started doing one-to-one sessions with a man called Mike Wotton. Fantastic fighter, fantastic coach, and he just started showing me like jiu-jitsu, striking, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I might just jump into MMA now. This is me. I'll do MMA." But then you start to like I started like veering off. Then I started getting into more like the deeper details of jiu-jitsu, like the fine details of the gi, and I just fell in love with it. I got addicted to it, and that was it. Then my path was just set purely on grappling.
That's that's awesome. It's funny. You hear these stories. Everyone has who becomes very dedicated to a
Yeah,
martial art. The stories always seem very similar. For me, it was as a kid, I seen the
yeah,
UFC, and as you can tell by the wrestling figures behind me, I've been a lifelong pro
yeah,
wrestling fan. But I seen the UFC in '93, and I remember like the submission thing was always something I was hooked on. I love pro wrestlers who had submission holds as their finishers. And in the early 2000s, right around the time of the Ultimate Fighter, I seen the Ultimate Fighter on TV, and I thought to myself, I should really try. Just see if I have the dedication level to train and be structured and learn and grow. And it became very addicted just watching submissions. And I would go
yeah,
back and the old HDNet fights. I would watch Pride, and I would fast forward through a lot of striking and just get to the ground game and just watch, just like would be amazed. And I finally picked up a phone book and found a school to go and train at.
yeah. Like,
And everything about the submissions and the grappling was what I just became so hooked on because it was solving a puzzle.
Yeah,
It was chess, and it was just everything's leverage. It's push and pull. Most of your submissions, it's all just push and pull. Even your chokes, it's push and pull. And it's funny because everyone has the same story. They find that spot, and it's just looking. It's just slowly you're dipping your toe in, and before you know it, you're totally consumed.
yeah,
And that's whenever you know someone's really going to be dedicated and just keep learning and building that toolbox in their art form. And I don't know, I love whenever guys have that story.
yeah. No, it's great. It's
So
like you say, dip your toe in and then just explore. I like you literally you get hooked from the start. It's crazy, man.
yeah, I really appreciate the scene today where the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gets a focus and submission grappling gets a
Yeah,
focus all of its own, separated from
yeah,
MMA. At the time, whenever I got into training, MMA was blowing up, and it was the big thing. So all my all my grappling, we didn't do gi, and I really wish I would have trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in a gi, just because it's so authentic and it means something historically.
yeah.
But everything we did was all we were training, catch wrestling, submissions, all on the preset of MMA, and that's what we were doing. I wish that Grapple Fest and something like that had been around with the prominence then, and we could have spent more time focused on that because I wish I wouldn't have gotten punched in the head so many damn times. I think it's if you're with submissions, I feel like there's such an art there,
I don't
and
think
it's
it's
such a
throws.
thing where people can really learn and grow without the risk of concussions. You tap, you're not going to break an arm. It can happen. Injuries do happen, but getting punched in the head, especially whenever you're just starting out, I feel is such a detriment and keeps so many people away from learning a martial art. Where if that's taken out of the equation in jiu-jitsu, you get humbled, but at least you're not getting
Mm,
punched in the face.
yeah,
There we
we're
go.
back. We're back. Yeah, I think we're all good. Has it come back? Yeah.
There we go. I think we're
Cool.
back. That time zone change and going across the giant pond, I think, has things a little
Yeah,
iffy, but
we'll make it work.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's great to have such a strong jiu-jitsu scene right now with Grapple Fest and all the other tournaments that get a lot of great mainstream attention.
Sorry, what was that? It just cut off again there at the end.
I think it's great to see so many different grappling promotions and tournaments that get a lot of mainstream attention to give athletes all these different avenues to really grow and be pulled more into grappling arts versus just MMA alone.
No, so I kind of like how, especially over in America now, you've got, who's number one, and they done who's next. And obviously, we got to see the jiu-jitsu guys compete and roll, but you got to see the personalities thrive and come out. You know, there wasn't really many people that were loud and brash, until you're seeing Gordon Ryan. He would talk the talk and back it up as well on the mat. ADCC, especially last year that's just gone, it was booming. That was the biggest grappling event I think I've ever seen. It was crazy to see like some of the high level guys over there do their thing, and it was great to see. Some of the UK guys over there as well. Ash Williams, Owen O'Flanagan, Owen Livesey, all there. Rightfully so, they should be. Being at that level. But yeah, I'm glad that there's so many different platforms now, not just obviously in America, but global, even in the UK as well now. You've got your Grapple Fest, Polaris. There's even like regional shows or smaller shows where guys can turn up and show their skill and build a profile for themselves as well, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I think you see guys like you see the Gothord, Shane Curtis. He's constantly competing, constantly able to find a show and really showcase his skill set. And it's great to see the UK scene having so many avenues for everybody. It's it's inspiring. It almost makes me want to dust off a mat and get back into a gym, and because it's great to see the sport grow and see people taking everything to the next level. So for you, how many competitions have you gotten into in the last 12 months? How many times have you been able to compete?
Let me see now. It was as soon as I got my purple, I think 4 days later, I was at the British Open competing. And I'm trying to think how many comps I've done now. I think I managed to do, I think maybe 10 or 11 last year. Um, so it was a fairly active year, but I kind of just tapered it off a little bit early, just to. I wanted to develop my game a little bit more, because of the constant activity. I was playing like a lot of my A game constantly, and you know I wasn't really refining any of my mistakes or gaps in my game. It was just constantly compete, play your A game, and go. So I couldn't take that step back. Um, so the last comp I'd done, I think, was Intergrapple. I think I'm going on Intergrapple again this Sunday, which Shane Curtis has made. He's done a real good job, giving grapplers like myself and other guys in the UK a platform to compete on, and he makes sick matches. So it's good. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I think it's froze again. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, I think right now, I think as far as outside of different things hitting, outside of different promotions being able to hit like the UFC Fight Pass, I think the UK scene is the most competitive in grappling arts. There's the most promotions I think that are doing things in a very good, positive way.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that happen, regionally in the states where there's comps that are. I don't want to say they're one-sided, but they're kind of one-sided for places they have an
Uh,
affiliation with, which I think is very damaging to the
yeah.
sport as a whole.
Give people a fair shake. You know what I mean? Give people a fair shake. At the end of the day, we're all trying to build a profile. So just make it fair, make the best man win. Don't be sandbagging or making no mismatch. You know what I mean? People want to see entertaining matches. If it's just one sided and it's done, there's no real fun in that. If the result's already predetermined, sort of thing, because of the guy's superior than the other, there's no real fun in it. No one really wants to watch that. I'd rather see two evenly
Right.
skilled guys have a firefight, and whoever wins wins. But respect to both who put it on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something really special about two highly skilled grapplers just going at it full clip, and you see them just looking for submissions at such a fast pace where it really is guys are trying to be multiple moves ahead of their opponent, and it's incredible some of these matchups we've seen over the last year in Polaris in Grapple Fest. These it's the sport's evolving with every competition that gets major attention. You see evolution in not just each athlete, but the sport as a whole is
Yeah.
just leaps and bounds better every time you see a high profile matchup.
Yeah, it's crazy, and especially like with Grapplefest now, with the matchups that what they're doing, that under 70 kilo tournament is going to be massive. Like the names in that speak for itself. You know what I mean in terms of talent, and the guys like from main card to prelim. Like everyone deserves to be on that card because of how high level and good they are. So it's mad, really. Like I just got into jiu-jitsu just because I loved it. It feels mad being part of something like this. It gives you a buzz, makes you want to train harder, and be better and be like these guys that you see that are at black belt and it's crazy. So it's a for me, I feel like it's a privilege for me to be on such an event like this.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a high profile event, and the caliber of athletes are just phenomenal. I think just about everything you see hit some mainstream attention from the UK. Almost all the events, I feel like the caliber of athlete is just, it's all top shelf. Everybody's so good. The scene in the UK is
Yeah,
really
I
phenomenal.
feel like now a lot of people are starting to see globally, like guys in the UK, especially after ADC, like the guys mean business, and I feel like the sport over here is growing a lot more. The talent coming through is ridiculous. Like, we've got like people in our gym, kids, and they do ridiculous things. So I'm thinking like, our wave's good now. Give it 5 years when all these kids are 18, 19 in the UK, just showing us more slick jits. You know what I mean? As it throws down my end. Are we back?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things to see coming out of the UK grappling scene is there's a lot of opportunity for young kids to be involved in it. I've seen like Reality Jiu-Jitsu is sponsoring kids who are competing in grappling tournaments, and that's something we don't have a lot of in the States. You have a few events here. We'll have, some opportunity for younger kids, but in the UK, I see entire competitions where it's kids and it's teenagers, and it's getting them an opportunity to see what it's like to compete and be active in jujitsu, and I think that's a
Yeah,
really cool
it
scene.
needs to be pushed and promoted. Keeping kids fit, active, and having fun. That's crucial. You know what I mean? Keeping them off the streets and doing cool things like jujitsu, building good friendships with it, learning a new skill. I think like the UK does a real good job. Even on like I'm talking like regional tournaments as well. Like the amount of kids there in the mornings, it's ridiculous, and it's growing. Sports halls are literally just crammed with people and parents trying to watch their kids, and it's good, and it gives them that sense of achievement when they've competed in a match, and win or lose, they've picked something up. Like for me personally, I don't think it's about medals. It's just like as a parent now, like I've got a 1 year old, but when she's grown up, I want to get her into jiu-jitsu, and she'll experience the lessons that I've had through competing as well, and I feel like it molds you into a more, I don't want to say better person, but more understanding. You know?
Yeah, there's something about spending the time in the mats and growing with a team and evolving and building your skill set together, and then the added competition, the physicality, the learning that someone may be brand new and they still may catch you in a
Yeah.
submission. It teaches you a little bit of being humble and some humility. And I think so much in jujitsu, especially with kids. I used to run kids groups, and kids teaching other kids is always something special because they're helping each other evolve
Yeah.
in something that they're
No,
passionate about.
it's good. Like developing key skills. Start to see leaders within that group then, and so like some of these kids are like legit like high level, like they can do some things that adults can't. They can move certain ways, and they show me new tricks. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good thing, and hopefully that can continue and blossom, and develop these skills for these kids, and keep them in the gym, keep them active, keep them working. I honestly, I couldn't think of anything better.
So in the UK grappling scene, how is sponsorship? Do you have any sponsors you want to give a shout out to here on the show? Anybody you want to recognize? Nothing better than having a strong team and an incredible coach behind you. It's something that gets said so often in all sports and in martial arts for sure. But I don't think having a good support group, having good people around you, just having your circle be tight and just with the kind of people you want to model yourself after is always the way to go. It's always a great thing to have in your corner. So you have a competition coming up this Sunday. Then you have go ahead. Yeah, yeah, a little bit, but it's all right. Yes. So you have a competition coming up this Sunday, and then after that will be. You have anything else between that and Grapple Fest? That's that's a great thing to have is just be focused on that goal. And I want you to know I appreciate you taking the time with us today. I do apologize for our delay, but I do believe the software will clean things up in production, so we'll be good there. Uh, and just know we will be cheering for you. We're here in the States. We're just outside of Cleveland, so we'll be watching you, and I will make sure on our social media, everyone who's checking this out, make sure you follow. It's Don't Say the F Word Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's the Don't Say the F Word Podcast on YouTube because the original channel got taken away from me somehow. And you can find the podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Adam, I appreciate you being here. And as you get closer to Grapple Fest, if you want to join us again or after you get these two W's, be happy to talk to you again and see what's next on your calendar. It'd be fantastic. If you want to say goodbye to all your fans who are checking us out, I'm sure you're going to bring some eyes and ears to the podcast. Any last words of wisdom? All right. Well, thank you again, Adam, and thank you everyone checking us out. I'm Jeremy. He's Adam. Mark is back here rocking his jiu-jitsu gi. This has been Don't Say the F Word. We'll see you on the next episode.